Greetings! This is a friendly reminder that this video was made in accordance with Singapore's Phase 2 COVID-19 measures for film and TV productions. All characters and events used in this video are entirely non-fictitious. Any similarity to actual events or persons, living or dead, is purely intended. I mean, what else would this video be? An Avengers movie? The footages featured are copyrighted and courtesy by their respective owners. This video is a non-profit film for entertainment and educational purposes. Although we do think Jaye, the host, is making us do this to bolster his Tinder profile. And oh, if any US peeps are watching this, please consider sponsoring us with free SUs. We did work really hard for this shit. No plates of chicken rice or Hokkien mee were harmed in the making of this video. Except maybe the chickens and prawns. Yeah, they were most definitely killed. And without further ado, here is the long-awaited, beautifully executed, finely crafted, Oscar-worthy.
Oh, hi, didn't see you there. Welcome to our cooking class. Okay. Now, I know what you're all thinking. Who the hey is Polity? Why am I wearing this? And since when have we decided to do something other than bringing famous people to our college? Is Tommy Ko on the show? Are we simply replicating HBO's Last Week Tonight with John Oliver? Well, to answer your questions, and only because I'm really lacking ideas for a good entrance. Haha, cleavage. Yes, Polity is expanding beyond our In the Eyes of series with a brand new project called Polity1101E. Woo! Through this program, we will bring you to light local issues that Singaporeans like you and I have encountered but may not have thought deeply about. So to only the 7 billion people who do not know who I am, my name is Jaye and I will be your host for today's episode. Here's a little snippet for you to hazard a guess of what we're going to talk about today.
Eating at a hawker center in Singapore, there's certain etiquette to eating. Every table has a table number. This one is table number 241. So first you sit down, get a table, and then you go up to a different food stall, order your food, and they will bring it to your table when you tell them the table number. You'll pay once your food gets to your table. Some popular things to get at hawker centers in Singapore are the carrot cake, which is actually a radish and carrot combination, and chicken and pork satay, a very Malaysian type of food. Each one 6 Singaporean dollars or about 4 US dollars. To wash it down, you can have some sugarcane juice, which they squeeze out of fresh sugarcane, or lime juice. That's sure to make you pucker. So one of the things about the hawker centers is they don't provide napkins, so you'll need to bring your own napkins to wipe your mouth of your food. Now, hawker centers are also not air conditioned, which means it's hot because it's Singapore, so you'll need to bring your own towel to wipe off your sweat.
Now I gotta admit, watching tourists trying out our local food makes me proud of what we have here. But seriously, Newton Food Centre. A plate of 10 satay sticks there costs you $7, did you know that? But yes, tonight we're going to be talking about hawker centres, which is definitely better than Malaysia's. Now, in as much that I can find a million ways to pick a bone with vlogger Chris to never ever eat at that hawker centre, that segment you just saw brought about 3 key ideas on this topic, namely the price of hawker foods these days, the sort of environment it is, and finally, the future of these national treasures. If there's anything that every Singaporean expects of hawker fare, aside from how delicious it is, it would be its affordability. Like take this plate of Thai fan, for example. How much would you pay for it? $2? $3? $4? You know, if the Yutang Thai fan auntie tells you that, a 2 meat, 1 veg combo is going to cost you $7, the first thing you're probably going to do is write a complaint letter to Calvin, which is why we've left him, his email address here for you to, if you ever really want to do that. Yeah. We clearly will never pay a lot for hawker food. But when Koi sells you their $7 bubble tea, Starbucks gives you their $8 coffee, and you have that disgusting, that delicious, decadent cheeseburger from Shake Shack. Wow, actually it's quite worth. Anywho, that is precisely such a fascinating, ironic reality. We are willing to splurge on so-called hipster food these days, but yet We grumble when our Thai fund is more than $4.50. But here's the main point. We expect hawker food to always be cheap. But are we expecting too much? You see, more often than not, hawkers have to deal with high costs and extremely long working hours. Today, hawker rentals can cost you up to nearly $1,100 a month for a stall unit in the heartlands. Let's not forget that rental for stalls in CBD areas, however, like Amoy Street Hawker Centre, can go up to a staggering $3,500 a month. And while many of us university students are retiring for the night after a long day of working on quizzes, some hawkers are already up and running at wet markets, procuring their fresh produce for the day. Others will already be cooking at their stores or preparing to take in their first customers. All these costs, all these efforts and painstaking hard work don't actually guarantee huge profits. Today, most hawkers earn about $2,500 if you work from, say, 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. And honestly, would you be happy with that amount? So look, here's our point. We're not saying that hawker food should not be cheap and affordable. We're just saying that when you judge the value of hawker food, how cheap it is should not be your only consideration. And when you look at this $2.50 plate of delicious chicken rice, you realize that it did not come to you easy. While we can look back to the days when things were cheaper, let's face it, times are changing. Coupled with a pandemic that has adversely impacted the livelihoods of hawkers, we should also bear in mind how difficult it is to keep up with rental, with employment costs, and with every freaking cost. Yeah. So let's support our hawkers, who are working hard to provide us with delicious food. We can expect a lot, and we should. But maybe we should not expect too much. When we think of hawker food, we usually think of our nasi lemaks and our roti pratas. But have you ever thought that there is more to hawker centers than just the food? Well, this side is definitely not a rarity at hawker centers too. Going to the hawker center is sometimes a war in itself, especially with these annoying friends. Can we change it? Wrong one. Yeah, that's better. Yeah, there we go. Yeah. So of course, most hawker centers are rather clean, but only because of the unsung heroes that we often take for granted. Our cleaners. They clean up after customers and make sure that you get a decent environment to enjoy your food in. However, we're really not making things any easier for them. Cleaners are actually overworked in hawker centers. Oftentimes, cleaners are elderly workers and are understaffed. And yet, we stubbornly refuse to clean up after ourselves or return our trays. Instead, we justify our mess by saying that it creates employment opportunities for the cleaners. Just listen to Madam Tan as she shares on her experience being one.
他们做到整张桌子很肮脏就没有办法，就要慢一点可以快我们就尽量快啦。有些会不太高兴说，我来这边消费，为什么我还要自己拿那个碗盘去归还呢？那你们是做清洁工，那我们自己归还了，你们不是不用做了咯？所以就等着你们自己来收啦。但是不是这样讲的，如果他归还，我们也是要抹桌子，也是有其他的工作要做，就是给我们比较轻松一点。
And she's right. Cleaning up after ourselves is really not stealing the cleaner's job. Look at it this way. You make a mess of your food on the dining table and you refuse to clean it up because you want to make sure your mom and dad have something to do. Try this line on them next time and see what happens to you. Besides, there's also a very commonsensical point to cleaning up after ourselves, so that hawker center is kept cleaner. Remember those birds earlier? Cleaners can't always get to your mess in time, especially during peak hours. So unless you want a Jurong bird park right smack in the middle of our much-loved hawker centers, clean up after yourselves. Return Your Tray initiatives have been introduced as far back as 2013. They have even started innovating some pretty cool stuff. Kopitiam at our Tampines hub even has a conveyor belt like Sake Sushi's that sends dirty plates into a central return station where staff will be on hand to process the utensils and plates. But look, you don't need a conveyor belt to return your trays or any other government initiative. You already do it every day. When you return your plates at the dining hall or the various canteens on campus, we do it every time because we know we're supposed to do it. And we see others doing it as well. So let's do our part to keep our hawker centers clean. And next time you see the uncles and aunties cleaning up after you in hawker centers, smile and say thank you for cleaning our mess. So why are we making such a big fuss about hawker food? Can't we just eat somewhere else? In recent years, I would think that many of us have read plenty of articles and journals. We have watched enough, mothership TSL videos to understand the possible disappearances of our hawker centers and the culture it has fostered. Hawker culture is our unique heritage and we should preserve it. Hawker centers were created from a period of hardship and, like many street foods elsewhere, was a means for impoverished families to earn a decent living. And that makes you wonder of how we can preserve such a legacy in a time when most of us are becoming more affluent, educated, and would rarely aspire to become hawkers. Compared to the physically demanding, less than desirably paid business of being a hawker, there is also stiff competition faced with air-conditioned mall food courts, which are operationally easier in terms of hiring and training, features which could push us to the brink of losing this heritage forever. So that said, as you dine at a nicely chilled cafe like, say, the PS Cafe up on Dempsey Road, enjoying that mouth-watering banana cake with caramel sauce, vanilla ice cream on that side, ooh, wow, what a tease. Yeah, allow me to ask you, what does the hawker culture mean to you? You could be asking yourself at this point, okay, Jay, we get it. You're guilt-tripping me, becoming more thoughtful about hawker food, but is it really that bad of me to want to be in such a comfortable place to eat? Of course not. On the contrary, what we hope to reflect here is how much younger folks like you and me have come to value this important piece of our Singapore history and way of life. That in the future of how Singapore is to be or remain for the foreseeable future, therein lies so much in the hawker culture that represents us as a people. Right now you could be a baller who frequently eats your meals at high-end restaurants or someone who sticks by your $3 economic bee-hoon stall for breakfast. But nevertheless, what connects us is a culture that has time and time again shown us how important and integral food security means to us individually. That going beyond our obsession of keeping hawker food cheap like the good old days, or the belief that we have a never-ending supply of hardworking cleaners to maintain the cleanliness and hygiene of these places, we should be aware that this may not be around for long, and it should be our civic duty to do whatever we can to preserve this cornerstone of the Singapore story. It gives us much hope to see younger Singaporeans like Delonix Tan and Douglas Ng rise to the occasion of keeping this hawker culture vibrant, accessible, and simply a passion worth pursuing. Pretty sure I can't even make food as good as that. So to all our young hawkers or hawkers to be, thank you for your contributions to this nation and for doing whatever makes your life more meaningful. As for the rest of us longtime fans of hawker food, myself included, let's do whatever we can, with whatever means, to thank, cherish, and support the people who have kept this inherent aspect of our national identity alive and well. That's all we have for today's episode. Thank you and see you around.